Good evening, all, and welcome to the first episode of the Fancy podcast. My name is Omar Fields, and with me on the show today or this evening is Nonso Arindechi. Welcome back to Fancy Football, Nonso. But like you never left, but we were all off the air for some time. How are you, Nonso?
I'm doing good. Thank you very much for impact. We're off air, like you said. We're off, but we're looking to sporty things to show comeback big and strong, and that's what we've done. So that wait was good enough to keep them waiting because we're stronger, bigger, and better. So nice talking to you again, Fanzy.
Yeah, nice to see you, Nonso. Nice to see your beautiful face. And nice to see your cloth of many colors as well.
I'm the Joseph of the show. I'm the Joseph of the show. So thank you very much.
On the internet. Can you hear me, Nonso?
I can hear you very well, loud and clear, sir.
Okay, we're just experiencing some downtime on the internet over here. That's from my end, but hopefully it will be fine. We'll be looking at player laundry this evening. We'll be looking at club exploiting the PSR, that is the profit and sustainability rules of the Premier League this evening. We know what the rules are, but let's see. We want to talk about how clubs have been exploiting that rule, have been going around that rule to sign players, especially in what is known as inter-club transfers. So just stay tuned as we play this montage. We'll come back. Welcome back to Fancy Football, and with me on the show tonight is Nonso Arindechi. So let's dive into what we have today. Nonso, can you explain what the PSR is all about, first of all, before I go into how clubs have been exploiting that rule?
Anyway, the PSR was brought about, basically to bring up sustainability in running clubs. In recent times, we realized that clubs are going to a bit of bankruptcy. They're unable to run their club. We saw that with Bolton Wanderers, and so the FA thought it right that we should bring up some rules and regulation that enables club run their affair and without issues, without rancor. What it means is that a certain amount of your profit you cannot spend more than a certain amount of your profit on players and wages, meaning that some certain amount must stay back so that you can be able to run your club and run it effectively, so you can't run into bankruptcy. But like you said, I think the percentage at some point was 70% at least.
Yeah.
I think during the last 70% is what the clubs must be able to have more than 70%. You can't go beyond that marker, and so that the club can have enough to take care of its day-to-day activities and not run into debt every other day of the week. So, but like you said, some clubs have been finding ways to circumvent it, spend beyond their profit. Also, don't forget that rule also enables that separates the club owners and the club. In the days of Abramovich, when there was no PSR, the club owner could easily drop in money from his personal pocket into the club for the day-to-day run of activities. Even as when Chelsea was sold by Abramovich, Chelsea owed him as much as, was it $4 billion, or £4 billion, if I'm not mistaken, during when he was about selling the club to Todd Bowley. That because he used his own personal funds, individual funds, to run the club. And I said, no, enough of that. We've seen a lot of look at what's happened in China, the China league. A lot of teams have run into chaos when they use the club owners. What if the club owner now goes bankrupt, or he gets to a point where he pulls out his funds and the club can no longer run itself? So they say no. Owners are different from the club. They can't just throw money to the club for any reason. The club will be able to generate money that they'll be able to spend, and if they cannot generate money, then they cannot spend. That's the rule. For amount of money they generate, only 70% of it can be used for players, sales of signing of players and wages, while the rest is used for the run of the club. But still, like I said, clubs have found ways to circumvent that rules, and it's becoming chaotic. We'll talk about that as the show goes on.
Okay, and also there's an additional addendum to that rule is that clubs cannot make more than £105 million losses over the course of 3 years. That is an average of
exactly.
£35 million. Yes, £35 million per season. Once you make £35 million a loss of £35 million per season, it means that your organization or your club is not run sustainably. So absolutely, if you are running into profit, yes, you are running into losses exponentially. That means there is no sustainability in that club. The way you spend your money, where you put your money, exactly, there's no sustainability there.
And don't forget, this is why clubs are padding their financial statements. If you check it, you know Juventus was caught at some point where they said they padded the falsified figures in their account, because they know. Imagine you going on a loss. First of all, it doesn't tell well of your CSR. That it doesn't tell well of the club, and even sponsors, the guys who pay money to want to invest in the club. In business, it's all about investments, about figures. So they falsify these figures and make you feel like the club is healthy, when in reality the club is running under a serious debt, suffering really badly. So that's why, like I said, we're looking at the ways where clubs have circumvented it. Some of them has been curbed. Some of them, as like they say, there's tax evasion, there's tax avoidance. It's just about you finding loopholes in every rules. And that is why every day it's a matter of discussion every season. The big club owners don't like it. They think at the start of this season, they brought up a new kind of rule where they say it will work concurrent with the PSR. I'm trying to remember the exact rule they brought. The exact one that they say it must run concurrently alongside the PSR, because they feel that the PSR is stifling them, especially the big owners, to invest in their club, because they can't. When they try, and most of them try to use, and we'll come to that third party, we'll come to that very soon, on how they try to survey the rule. A lot of things are going on, if you know.
Okay, for those that are watching us currently now, please kindly subscribe to Fancy Football, hit the like button, smash the notification bell, so that whenever we go live or whenever we upload any video, we will have that opportunity. You will have the opportunity to know that we are live. Okay, we started having some statement coming in from some angles. The Fancy zone, they are here, and we'll come to that because they started hitting on so left, right, center. But let's see what will happen at the end of the day. Okay, also let's go deep. Let's dive into this whole PSL rule now. Why do clubs don't? Okay, why is the rule not popular among clubs? The rule itself.
It's simple, because the quickest way to make an impact as a club owner is the fact that if you can throw in money and throw in. See, a lot of people still believe that Man City, like I know you're one of the believers who believe that Man City won the league by spending money. And in those days, there was no way where you could curb them not to spend. Chelsea bought at some point, I think they bought over 20 players under the first season of Abramovich. You can't try that now. Your books, you can't balance your books with such humongous amount of players. So for big owners, especially those from the Qataris, the Saudis, they've got money to spend, and they want their team to be one of the top teams in the world, not only in Europe. And the only way they feel they can do it is by infusing big money, attracting big players. Like we saw with Paris Saint-Germain when they had at some point Neymar, Mbappe, and Messi at the club. But unfortunately, the Premier League, you can't do that. The aim is to ensure that one, like I said earlier, it keeps the clubs in check, not to run the club more like a like a pet. One, two, keep the competitive of the club or competitive of the league. Don't forget, you see teams like Fulham buying players for 50 million pounds, 60 million pounds. If you imagine a club like Man City is allowed to spend huge money, the clubs like Fulham will not be able to compete because they wouldn't mind to spend 200 million on a player that is not worth up to 40 million pounds. You know, and with teams like Fulham, they can't compete. So the aim of this thing is to ensure that club runs smoothly, like I said earlier, and then teams, especially the lower teams, have got right to compete. Didn't you like it when Leicester City won the league? We all loved it. We loved it when we loved the story of the underdog. It's a story that we enjoy. So for me, I know there's a lot of backlash on the rule and regulation, but to me, I'm an ardent supporter of that rule. It keeps all the so-called big money spenders in check, and then they'll tell you, please, you want to spend big, then make big money. Simple. There are ways you can make this money and spend them. Your sponsorship, you try and get more sponsors, reckon more money in. If you are reckoning 3 billion, that means 70% of 3 billion is like 2 point something. So you can spend more, but ensure that the money you are reckoning in doesn't come from the owners. The money you are reckoning is coming from sponsorship. It shows that your club is viable, your club is making progress. Look at Leicester, for example. They have a massive followership in Asia. And that is why they could get in some of those players they did get at that period of time. You know, and that's why they still stay relevant. They can look at the King Power Stadium. To me, it's one of the best stadiums in England, if you ask me. So, like I said, it's about managing your club like a business entity. Before it wasn't so. It was about who has the biggest owners or who has the richest owner. Now it's about a coach who has got. Now it's about the team who has got the best management style, who can reckon the money. And if you can reckon the money, why not? You can spend. But the owners are not happy because they feel they can't just throw the cash around and get things to happen.
Okay, they can't just throw the cash around and get things to happen. Okay, moving on quickly. Now, let's move on to the acquisition currently on ground, and it has been making the rounds in the social media, whereby Chelsea, Aston Villa, and Everton are being accused of player laundering. And also, we know what is really going on between these two clubs, especially Chelsea and Aston Villa recently. We've seen the trade. Ian Metesar moved from Chelsea to Aston Villa for close to 36 million pounds. Then, during that process, two players moved to from Aston Villa to Chelsea. Oman Kellerman, 90 million pounds. Yeah. Yes, yeah. And one other player, let me see if I can remember his name. One other player also moved from Aston Villa to young players. They are homegrown players. They moved. Yeah. Now, if you see the plus and minus of that transfer, 19 minus what will I say? 19 minus 36, thereabout. Let me be sure of this figure very well before I 17 million pounds.
Yes.
17. Okay, so it's 17. Okay, that's 7.5 million pounds. So 19 minus that's 7.5 million pounds. You will see that it's around 18.5 million pounds, which makes ensure that Aston Villa made a profit of how much?
16.5, right?
16.5. Yes, 16.5. Yeah. We also saw that kind of deal happening in Everton as well. One of the deals happened with Everton, and the other one collapsed with Dublin Calvert-Lewin. The deal broke down because Everton and Newcastle didn't meet at a center point. So, yeah. And subsequently, we saw Chelsea signing players also. Interclub, they've signed a whole lot of players from their fellow young players from the Premier League.
Yeah.
Yes. So this really draw attentions of fans from other clubs, fans like us from other clubs, and say, this deal, how far? Because there's something fishing between these two clubs, or between these three clubs. What is really fishing is that young players are expensive now, to be frank. Let's accept the fact. Young players with potential, and I've said it before, young players with potentials in the Premier League are very, very expensive. And that's why you see clubs are going into those deals, trying to get one or two and bring them to their side. I don't know how they are. We don't really know how they are bypassing that loophole, but it seems that cash is changing hands. A lot of cash are flowing left, right, and center, which means that some people are gaining, some people are selling young players, some people are buying young players, and some people are selling players because Aston Villa are going to sell Douglas Lewis. That deal is done and dusted. They will make money from there, which means that they've successfully balanced their account, whether we like it or not.
I think for Aston Villa, the issue people are complaining about majorly is the figure. What has Kellyman played to be worth 90 million?
Because those figures are inflated figures. That's where I'm coming to.
Absolutely.
Those figures are inflated figures.
What has Kellyman played to be worth 19 million? That's the question. Did he play? I think when I was reading about him, it was 6 appearances last season. 90 million pounds. It's sickening. And that's why people are asking questions. Because when you see players who shouldn't be go less for less than 10 million pounds going for 25, 35, and it's becoming a norm. And people, because of the fact that people are not asking questions, you inflate the fee and then you put it on your book that, oh, we made this so and so money. Don't even be surprised that they didn't even collect up to that same amount of money for that player. But just because they wanted to put something on the books, they both agree that this money, or they inflate it, use it as a means of transfer. See, a lot of dirty deals are going down, and then see, if you don't have proof, like I always tell you, all you need to do is sit back and watch. In every rule, there are loopholes. If I let's assume now I want to buy your player, I'll tell you, okay, is what can you pay 25 million pounds? I'll say no, I can pay 15, but just agree to that so that our books can expand. They will both agree. They will shake hands, and the player will move. And it will be written in the statement, the financial statement, that the player is worth so amount of money. But it is not so. I think it's the fact that the problem is have you noticed the bromance between Aston Villa and Chelsea in recent times?
Yeah,
it's not just this. It's not just this format. Kari Chukwuemeka came from that place, and it was paid for. They paid huge amount of money for him. They've got some other players from West Ham in the academy that have joined up with Chelsea. And now this takes us back to the origin of the owners. Check it. It's either the owners are friends or the owner has shares in that same club. Because we've seen circumstances where a club owned by the same owner sells a club the same amount of money to a club owned by him and then put any price after it's his club.
Exactly.
And one of them happened to one of our players in Frank Onyeka. He left Michelin and joined Brentford, owned by the same owners. And we know what happened. I was asking, what does Onyeka play to worth that amount of money? But the deal has been done. Same owner. So, like I said, no matter how we try to create the rules and regulation, they always find a way around it. Like now, the book, they haven't broken the rules. The book will tell you this how much they paid for him. But because people are suspicious because of the amount of money they're calling for players that shouldn't even be worth 5 million naira. Let me give you an example. Chelsea just got Magui from Barcelona for 5 million pounds.
For 5 million
pounds. Barcelona were hoping that he will sign a new contract, maybe an extension, and then they will increase the release clause
but
from 5 million. But it didn't happen. Do you know if Magui, with all the experience he has gathered in this football, goes for 5 million pounds, then you're telling me Kellyman is 19 million pounds? How?
Exactly. There's no rationale between the two transfers.
How?
The two transfers. This is where I want us to. Hello, guys. Please, can we kindly comment on this? And this is where I want us to really look at very well, because there is no rationale between these two transfers. These two transfers, the book doesn't add up at all.
Magui has better chance of playing for the Chelsea first team this season than Kellyman, who they bought for 19 million pounds. So can you make sense to me?
It's sad.
For me, Magui is a steal. He joins up the Chelsea team. Is a steal. He's sure he can play in so many leagues. But Kellyman is not even tested. But it's worth 19 million pounds. And instead of Chelsea to say, okay, we're not paying 19 million pounds for Kellyman, we'll take this money and go and buy Magui for 5 million pounds. And they play similar position. But why do they have to buy the two? You know, it makes the whole process about the PSR look like a joke. I've talked about this inflation of figures. I've talked about the owner selling players to themselves. You know, same owner, same. We know the Man City group has so many clubs scattered across. So if they say a player they want to Man City, all they need to shift him and put a price tag, just so that they can shift the money to their club. It's not something that they own Girona. They want to sell to because they own Girona, they own Man City. They want to sell to Man City. They will not tell you that they bought it for 60 million pounds. A lie. They want to launder 60 million pounds to Girona, but they use that player as bait.
Exactly. Okay. Now, so quickly, let's look at the questions we have because it's also don't say clubs. You have to say Chelsea. Don't use the word clubs. You have to use that word Chelsea because they are the ones that are most known for this this whole player laundry saga.
It's not only Chelsea that see. If we do a proper research, I can tell you that every team will be a suspect. Look at what happened yesterday last season. How many teams were deducted points? Is it sometimes? Let me tell you the truth. The FA does turn it back.
And we still have a club. We still have a club charged with more than 150.
Exactly. So you see what I'm saying?
A club that is even suing the institution it belongs to. Oh my God.
That's what I'm saying. So the FA can turn a blind eye because they know what they would lose if they lose a team like Manchester City in the league. Man City has made the Premier League more popular because of the quality of players they attract in the league. So as much as they try to hit the hammer on them, they are careful of the brand themselves, of the Premier League brand itself. Exactly. So that's why I say they can hit Everton for all I care, and that team can come and take Everton's place in the league. Everton is not as big as you could think. They can hit the likes of Crystal Palace, and of course all the smaller teams. But see, whether we like it or not, there's now we need to have a big six. Remember, it was big four. Then increase to big six, maybe now big eight. And some things that when they want to hit the hammer, they will tell you they are discussing. We are still investigating.
But
they will investigate until one of the man to sell the club.
I just think with what is really going on now, I think they will be hammered. They will be hammered. To be frank, City will be hammered. Whether they take.
What have we not said in the past 2 years to make Man City not go under the knife? What has not been said?
When we go to
I've been opportune enough to see some of the leaked file or released because I'm more or less I like to check out online and I'm opportunity to read some of the and I'm like, wow, why has the FA not clamped down on these guys? You know why? They as much as they don't want it to happen, they are trying to protect the brand called the Premier League. Do you know how big the brand Premier League is?
But the brand called the Premier League will be destroyed by one single club. It is vice versa. It's a give or take.
Let
every action there is equal and opposite reaction.
Let me come back to Chelsea a bit. Chelsea will sign a player and spread the payment plan for 18 years.
For
15 years. No, don't give an example. I'm just joking. You know what I'm trying to say. 8 years. Yeah. The evidence. Do you know how many players are on a long payment plan at Chelsea? Virtually half of the play. It's up to half. Come on, scratch that.
Half of the team.
Half of the
team. Yeah.
Are on a long. That is another way to subvert it. But the FA were so. The first deal happened. The second deal happened. The third deal happened. The fifth deal happened. It has to be so much. It has to be pronounced. But them to say no, you can no longer spread it that way. You can only spread from the worst you can spread is 5 years. Even the 5 years self, it gets us in peace. It too much for my eye. Because the aim of the profitability is to ensure that you spend more than. So what they do is that now they may end up spending as more than their earnings, but they will spread it across. So how are you sure? Now this is my question. Now let's say now they buy a player 200 million. They are making profit of 100 million. They can't spend more than 70 million. So they say, okay, we'll spread the 200 million for 5 years. That is how many million now per year? 40 million naira. How are you sure that they're going to make 100 million like that in the next 5-6 years? How are you sure that they will make this? They will make profit. Don't forget, we have seen teams who have made loss for 3 years in a row. So where do they get that money from? So it is true. It's all different ways of subverting this rule that we're trying to create. So at the end of the day, it's not better you just allow these rich men spend their money when they go bankrupt. the club folds, and we move on. Because at the end of the day, there's always going to be loopholes. Like I said, the moment I started the show, I said the difference between tax evasion and tax avoidance. The same lawyers that will create, that will tell you that the law says this, we find loopholes in the law when they are being paid good amount of money. So it is what it is. But that's what we found ourselves in the Premier League. The big hitters, the big spenders are being hit with kid globes, while the smaller teams are pummeled. Really sad.
Okay, somebody said that the PSL rule is killing football in England. Is it true?
I don't think so. If it was not there, the menace would have seen in the EPL would be worst. Now that Todd Boehly had become, you would have seen them. They would have bought 3 different squad. They would have bought the way Todd Boehly is going. It looks like he wants to buy the whole young players around the world. If this PSR was not there, he would have bought 78 players by now in less than 1 year.
And,
so as much as
I just think that after this spending spree for Todd Boehly and Chelsea, and can you hear me also? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Go ahead. Perfectly well. I can hear you. Go ahead.
We are having downtime, please. So you're having downtime, please. So if there are any issues you have with the internet, with the clarity of what we are doing, please just pardon us for today. Okay, this is what it is. Now, take for instance, after spending all this money, Chelsea can still balance their account. Do you know how? They can decide to sell Conor Gallagher for £50 million.
Inflated price.
Account. Exactly.
Absolutely.
For £50 million. That balances the account.
Absolutely. So the people who suffer these are the smaller teams. Like I said, the smaller teams will suffer. So now a team like Crystal Palace who don't have too much money, who wants Gallagher by all costs, pays £50 million and they can't spend again. And then they are depleted. The competitive level of the league is dropping every single day. It's really sad. Really, really sad.
Okay, let's move on from the I think we'll talk more about this saga. Let's just look at Rashford a little bit. This evening, this evening or this afternoon, there was news that PSG want to reignite their interest on Marcus Rashford.
Yeah.
And the club, there was a statement not from the club, but from sources in the club that came out from the club that United are interested to offer Rashford to any willing party that is willing, to any party or to any club that is willing to offer the right price. And we all know the right price for Rashford, what United are looking at. They are looking at between 70 to 80 million pounds. Take it or leave it. That is their price asset. He's the highest paid player as we speak currently now in the club. He's 27. He's still young, but he has not. He has inspiring a lot of time.
Can you hear me?
What I think. I can hear you, please. Go ahead. Can you hear me?
Go ahead. I think I can hear you. I heard everything you said, but I just hope you can hear me. To be sincere, for Marcus Rashford, I think the 70-80 million pounds is the right figure for him. He's proven. He's proven. Someone like Jordan Sancho can go for as high as that amount after just playing a few seasons at Dortmund. Then I think it's rightly so. He should watch it every day of the week. You know my take on that. I think he should have been in that squad for experience, for the X factor. And you can see how England are faring. We talked about it extensively here before the start of the Euros, but that's by the way. But let's focus on Rashford. I think it's a good move. For Man United, they're trying to cash in on him now that now they can, because to be sincere with you, I think he's dropping slowly but surely. He's 27, but it looks like he's 31. Maybe lots of distractions around him, apart from football, which he needs. And I kept saying it last year, he needs to knock it down and play football. Forget about politics. What about other things around? Just play football. You've got the talent. You've got the skill. All you need to do is just knock it down and play. But for Man United, if they would keep Greenwood missing, which I think may be very difficult for them to keep, I would have said it would have been a good deal because maybe people would just slot in.
No, I don't think they're keeping Green. I don't think
Exactly.
they are keeping Greenwood. I don't think they are keeping Greenwood in that
so
team.
now,
Yeah.
if they sell 70 million pounds, they will have to buy. Where is the natural replacement for him? There's no one in the market right now that can step up. It can be that market signing. Police has decided to go to Bayern Munich. We hear he did his medical today. So where would they get that winger that can bring in that extra? See, Rashford might be very nonchalant, might be very lackadaisical, may not be at his peak. But what happens is that when Rashford turns up the style, boy, oh boy, the boy is unplayable. He can turn the game around on his own. He's that magical. So that's the way I see it. So good deal for Man United. I think it's the right time to cash him out. After all, PSG are looking for a poster boy after they let go of Kylian Mbappe. And he could just, for Rashford, what is he? He's playing for the national team. He's won laurels for Man United. Come on, for him, it's a new challenge. More money made in his bag, new challenge, and a chance maybe for him to win the Champions League. But for Man United, if they don't cash him on him, I don't think they will cash him on him again. I think it's a good one for Man United. I think it's good business for both parties, if you ask me, and for Rashford if he decides to leave. But you know that England factor, they find it hard to leave the English league. I don't know why, but we've seen the little ones that have left have flourished. Look at Jubilean, for example. So for me, I think it's going to be a good deal. But let's wait and see whether Rashford will want to make that move to France.
Okay, let's wait and see if Rashford wants to make that move to France. Okay, finally, just what's your take about the current Euro Championship that is really going on? We've seen smaller teams take this competition by the horn. We've seen the likes of Austria topping the group that involved France and Poland in that group. We've seen what we saw yesterday, though.
Romania
some
topping
changes
the group that has Belgium. Romania topping the group that has Belgium.
Yeah. Also, what we saw also is we saw the Portuguese team. Yes, though there were some changes, chop change, but you still expect the Portuguese team to
get them to that
pull
group
through beat what's the Georgia yesterday. But still, that didn't happen. Only Spain. Spain is the only team that got 9 out of 9. 3 out of the 9. The perfect group this thing. Yes, 3 winners out of 3. But this is what I think, because for Spain, this is not the first time they are doing it 3 winners out of that. When they go out of the knockout stage, and we know what happened in the World Cup. Will happen. So, but this is it. This is it. We hope it doesn't happen to Spain, but because they are gradually pushing themselves up the ladder of being the favorite. Yes, for the French, we know that sometimes they are slow starters. By the time they click their gears in the knockout stage, I think they become unstoppable, and that's my fear for France. If they eventually get that gear to the next stage, then we'll see them. But the big boys are still there: Spain, Germany, Portugal, France. England are still there, and who else again? Italy are still the defending champion, are still there. The sad story is that the likes of it is the end of the road for Luka Modric and his Croatian side. He thought he got the winner towards the end, but at the end of the day, the Italians came back with a stunning goal to shock them, and that made them waiting. And as the results started coming out, they begin to go down the third place. I think the draw against their draw against which other team? Is it Slovenia or is it No, it's Slovenia. Yeah, that's Slovenia. In that Slovenia. The draw against Slovenia hindered them a lot. We could have put them on that pedestal. We also saw another team with 4 points that they couldn't really make it as well because of the yes,
to get 4 points for not making it out of the stage.
So, in a nutshell, how has the Euro been in terms of who are the winners and who are the losers?
To me, it's been a shambolic Euros. I don't think any team have lived up to expectation. To be sincere with you, this is not the Euros I expected. I think the AFCON was better, was more engaging and more entertaining than what we're seeing here at the Euros 2024. Totally, the AFCON toppled this one by far. Don't know how the length is from Abuja to Sokoto using your leg. That's how the length. Let me just give you a distance what it is here in Nigeria. That's the distance. But if it's a team I need to look out and give kudos to. There are 2 teams. One, Georgia, the biggest winners for me. First time ever they qualified for the Euros. First time ever they made it to the knockout stage of the Euros. So kudos to Georgia and Kabisha for Aston Villa, who made it through after that 2-0 victory against Portugal. Kudos to Romania, who took a good that has Belgium and Ukraine. Those are the biggest winners, I tell you. And biggest losers, it has to be England. They have, I know they topped their group, but from reports we're getting from home, the ex-internationals, the fans are not happy. And to even buttress their frustration, they booed Gareth Southgate when he went to applaud the fans after the last game where they played a goalless draw. So really shambolic performance. But like I said, it's a tournament football. They may struggle, they may crawl, they may wobble, cross front or roll themselves to the finish line, and we'll say, "Oh, it's coming home." But it's the way I'm seeing it, it may not reach home. It may not go to the tomb. I know what happens at the tomb, so it's that bad. So another biggest loser is Ukraine. How do you get 4 points and not qualify when teams like that are getting 3 points? With even a lesser goal difference of even minus, makes it through to the knockout stages. It's painful, but that's the group they are in. 4 points, first time ever a team gets 4 points and they don't make it out of the group stage. But overall, it's been a below par Euros. I can't even say anything with the favorite. Spain, to me, they might have gotten a perfect record, but they haven't ticked all the boxes for me. Belgium, these are the third best team in the world. But anyway, they play France next. Let's without playing a tougher opponent, will help them to up their game. For France, Mbappe scored his first ever Euros goal, but France, they don't call it out for me. I think they need to go to what works for them. Play Giroud as a target man, send Mbappe to the wings, and let Giroud do his thing. They're trying to change it, go to Ram, get winger. Bracola, it's not working. So to swallow his pride and play that old man Giroud as a target man, the style that got him the final of the World Cup, got him the finals of the Euros, and got him the World Cup as well, then I think they can get it right. So overall, just over average for me. But I tell you, maybe they are waiting for the knockout stage to lit up the whole place. So the knockout draws is out. Like I said, for me, I want to see what France and Belgium will go through. But England has got a very tricky draw. As much as I say it's Georgia, when I see how Georgia are playing, in their 3-5-2 formation with Brastavilla and McKenzie in attack, they could give England, with what I'm seeing with England playing, a good run for their money. So for me, not too many fireworks, but I'm hoping and praying that by the start of the knockout stages, it will begin.
Okay. So this is much we can bring to you on the show today. I think we've quite spent a lot of time. So thank you so much for those that have watched us, and also thank you so much for your in-depth analysis on this topic. We'll see you in our next time that we're on air on the Fanzy podcast. Thank you and good evening, everybody.
Good evening. Cheers.